it's Lisa from My Dreaming Soap. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to make a chocolate orange soap, and this soap is going to be completely natural. So I'm going to use no micas, I'm not using titanium dioxide either, and it's going to be fragranced with an essential oil blend. So what I've got in front of me is I'm going to make some small orange embeds. So I've got some extruder discs from my large extruder range, and I'm going to use those to extrude the orange bits of the orange and then the white pithy bits of the orange. And I've made some soap dough in advance. Now this is unfragranced soap dough, and it's made with paprika to give me the orange blend. And this is just completely plain soap dough. There's no titanium dioxide, there's no colouring or anything in this. I just make sure that when I want a really white soap dough like this, then I just make sure I use light coloured oils. And as you can see with here, this is just giving me almost a white soap dough. There would actually be no need to add titanium dioxide in there, even, if I wasn't doing a natural soap. So what I'm going to do first of all, because if you've seen my videos before, you've seen me extrude loads of stuff, I'm just going to knead this soap dough just to make sure it's lovely and pliable, and then I'm going to extrude my oranges. We'll put them together on the video. And I also want to roll out some soap dough as well, because I need to go around the edge of the oranges. So I'm just going to get all that prep work done, and then we'll come back. So I'm back, and I've just got everything I need for one orange. I'm actually going to make 3 of these. So I've extruded the little bits that go in the middle of the orange. I've got my little sort of bit of orange pith, and I've also rolled out some white soap dough very thinly and some orange soap dough. And again, if you've seen my videos before, you'll know I just use some bags that I just reuse time and time and time again to actually roll out my soap dough. So to put my orange together, take those out of the way at the moment because I don't need them, I just want to take my segments and put them into my pithy bit. I am going to just wet this with distilled water. Now remember, anytime you're doing anything with soap dough and you want to get the bits to stick to each other, water is good to stick, but it's really important that you use distilled water. Don't just use tap water or anything, because remember, this soap has been through the saponification process. If you just start putting basic old tap water in, you're much more likely to get problems later on with things like, dread orange spots, that sort of stuff, where you can have things just reacting badly. Okay, so I'm now just going to go through and put my orange segments, drop them into my orange. Now whilst they're all wet, they will be a little bit slippery. So they might keep popping out a little bit, but that will be fine, because they will then bond together. Okay, so they slip together nicely. And then we do want to make sure that we're pushing those together well. Okay, push rather than roll at this stage, because if you roll, you're likely to split your soap dough. And you need to push them together well, because you want to make sure that there are no gaps in that embed. And it can sort of feel, when it's all sort of nicely pushed together, it stops moving around and feels more solid. Okay, so I'm happy about that. It's gone a little bit twisted. Hey, but that doesn't matter. Right, so next we would have the pith around our orange. Okay, so that will be taking my white soap dough Okay, and again, we can just to ensure that it all sticks together, just a little bit of water. I really don't want to make this too wet. It's a tiny bit. My hands are nice and clean. And then I can get this wrapped on. And again, nice tight fit is what you're after. Now I don't really want this to overlap. It will initially, but I'm going to trim it to get rid of that. Okay, so as you can see, I've got some little bits. I'm just going to patch those in. And then that will all smooth out. And I'm just going to go down and take off this bit that's overlapping. Okay, so at the moment a little bit rough, but that's okay because we're now going to push it and join it. And you can just smooth that join out. Okay. And then once again, squeeze it rather than rolling it. What you might find is if you roll at this stage, what will happen is it will make the white layer thinner and actually make it go more baggy rather than tightening it up. And you want it to tighten, don't you? You don't want it to be baggy. So squeezing is always good. Okay, don't squeeze madly, but there we are. Again, nice and solid. So that's nicely covered now. Okay, these I'm going to reuse for my next orange. So next layer is to get my orange pith. No, this isn't pith, isn't it? This is orange peel. So orange peel, and exactly the same process. Just going to tidy up this bit here. Okay, and then I am just gently rolling it, really just to make sure I've got a nice smooth sort of round shaped orange outside. Okay, and there's my orange. Looks a bit funny at the moment, but obviously once we take it and we put it into the soap, it will then hopefully look more orange-like. Then I'm going to measure that for the embed that I want. Okay, good. So I've got my pith all the way around. Final little roll and squeeze. There we go. Gonna make some more of those and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got a few things here, as you can see, and these are the oils that I want for my main pour. So this first oil is just my normal master batch oil. I'm going to use that for the chocolate parts of the soap. This is again another master batch that I do, and this is my normal oils, but without any olive oil. And what I do with that is whenever I have an olive oil infusion, I will then use my infusion to replace those missing oils. Now, in this case, I'm going to use the full amount of olive oil that I would normally use in this section of the soap. But sometimes if I don't want it quite as strong, I might still add some plain olive oil and then add my infusion as well. So I'm just going to add that in to my other oils. Okay, so what that's done, as I said, is it's now brought the mix of oils up to my normal blend, but I do have those oils infused with paprika to give us our lovely orange colour. Now for my chocolate colour, I'm going to be using cocoa powder, but I'm not going to add that just yet because I do want to just hold back a tiniest little bit of white soap, i.e. just plain soap. I'm not going to put any TD or anything in because it's a natural soap. Just so I can have it on the top. So that's why I'm not adding my cocoa powder just yet. Right, let's go and get our lye solution for these. Okay, so here's everything that we've got. So I've got my 2 bits of lye. I've marked one of them with an O so I can't get them muddled up because there are 2 different amounts of oils here, so obviously important to get them round the right way. I've got a little tiny pot because remember I said I want to, just before I mix in my cocoa, just take some of that off the plain soap batter. This is my cocoa. I used Dutch cocoa powder and I have just dispersed this in some oil here, kind of like you would do with mica. Now the only reason I've done that is because I'm adding it at trace. If I was going to make this whole amount here brown, I would have probably just blended it straight into that oil there. But remember, I want to save a tiddly tiny weeny a small amount off for my toppings. Okay, so let's get these added in. I've also weighed out my essential oil. Now I'm using tenfold orange essential oil here, and once again I've just divided them out into my 2 amounts. And then, as normal, I'm just going to leave that, because I've got no trace at the moment. Leave it, wait for that to come to trace, and then we'll start to pour. So I think I'm pretty well at a very light trace now with these. So what I'm intending on doing is pouring this as an ombre. And then I'm going to put the oranges in afterwards, and that will be fine because even if it just pushes some of the batter down, I don't mind that at all. Now I want to start with the orange first, and I want a good dollop of the orange first of all, before I start ombreing in. Because I don't really want these colours to, spend too long being mixed. I just want the transition from one to the other to be not just a solid line. Okay, so as you can see, I'm sort of getting rid of a good amount of that orange. So then I can bring this chocolate in.
Stayed for too long and I woke up at your place again. And all this time we said this would end. Instead we completed that both of us needed more than a friend. Thought he'd be someone else, that he would take me away. To you now I'm sleeping, no rhyme or reason to that. If this is what love
Okay, now I'm getting to the point that I really think there's hardly any difference between these colours. So I'm just going to do this one last one and then I'll just pour the rest. And it is actually starting to thicken up quite a bit, which is okay because then at least it should give some chance of supporting those embeds. Okay, so you can see there that my soap is, gosh, I can go right down there with my finger and not reach any soap. So let's go and grab our embeds and I'm going to start sinking them in. Now this one I want to go pretty well, almost all the way down to the bottom. I'm just going to get something to push with so I don't have to stick my fingers in it too much. Okay, and then my second one I want this side, so they're sort of staggered. And again, pushing it down so I get that soap coming over the top. And then my last one. Excellent. I was just worried that I wasn't going to have enough soap to get it covered up, but luckily I do seem to have that. So that's perfect. There we are. The chocolate soap everywhere. Let's have a clean up. Okay, let's give this a little shimmy. Can you see I've got some swirls of orange coming up? I quite like that actually. It'll tidy up. And then let's get this bit I was saving onto the top. I'm just giving that a shimmy just to make it even, so I haven't got some bars of soap bigger than the other. So I'm happy with that, that looks really good. With my embeds, I did some slices of oranges, so we'll just add those to the top. Okay, I've just laid them down there quickly just to make sure that I can see the sort of spacing that I need. And don't think I'm going to get much choice really, rather than to sort of zigzaggy them in like this, because they're kind of too fat to do anything else with. Okay, so there we are, all nice and natural chocolate orange soap. So here's our oranges soap. Now this has actually been, I would say, a couple of days because I've been rather busy and not had time to cut it. So let's get it cut now. And let's have a look at what we've got inside. Okay, so there's our little orange chocolate soap. They've come out really well. can you see here, and you quite often get this with embeds, and it typically disappears during the cure, that I've got my orange, and then can you see I've got that sort of almost a rim around the embed. And I do find that quite often you get that with embeds, but then it actually, as I say, goes away during the cure phase and disappears. Okay, and again you can see it with that one. Okay, so there's my little chocolate orange soaps. It's all fairly similar inside, but I think they've come out quite nicely. Okay, so not too Christmassy, sort of festive wise, but I think they're a nice festive smell. And that's our chocolate orange soap. And here's a final picture of the soap. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you like the soap. If you do, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see what I'm making in the future, then why not subscribe to my channel? And if you've got any questions or comments, then please leave them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy soaping!